Hey you guys, it is Matthew Rosewater here. I just wanted to share with you guys a session that I just had, and I feel like I've always wanted to share so much more about like my success stories and like what I work on with people. And something I've been working through in my own life is becoming more comfortable with sharing these things, because I realized I had a lot of fears about like what people would think about me with helping people with these kinds of things. And how people would view it, what people would think. But you know what, I've kind of come to this point where I've moved through a lot of that stuff, and what I feel inspired to want to do now is I want to be really loud about the kinds of things that I'm helping people with, because I feel like if I'm just keeping this all to myself, like the things that I'm working on with people and how cool like the results are, like I feel like I'm doing such a disservice to people for them to not know what's possible, for them to not know what it is that I'm doing. So yeah, I'm going to take this opportunity and to kind of also put this into momentum, into forward movement, into action, to become more vocal and share like what's going on, because I work with a lot of clients, and I've been so busy, but also just there was that part of me that is and was just so scared to share those things that I've been working with. So if you're here with me live, say hi in the comments. Hi guys, let me know that you're here. If you're watching the recording or the replay, let me know that you're here. But I just want to let you guys know that I work with so many people, and I cannot believe some of the things that I've seen people work on. Hey Antoine, thank you so much. Yeah, I so get that. I appreciate you saying hi and dropping by. Hi Priscilla. So I work with clients probably, it's different every week, but probably between like 5 to 7 a week or something like that, right? And today I just really had this beautiful experience, and I really wanted to share that. Sending gold, white, pink, and ocean blue. Thank you. That feels really good. I'm gonna receive that, Antoine. Thank you. Hi, Naomi. So what I really wanted to share with you guys is something that just happened essentially in a session, and I will never reveal any client information or anything like that, but when something beautiful happens, I really, really feel like it is so good to share that, because like what if somebody else is going through that and they're like, wait a minute, like what you just said makes sense, or maybe what you've shared will make me feel like it's possible to move through this now, right? Hey Lucy. So I want to kind of explain what happened. So for those of you that don't know, I have a business called Planet Ascension, and what I do, one of the things that I do a lot of different things, but what I do the most with on one-on-one basis with the clients is I work through things that people are struggling with, things that are painful, things that they can't seem to get past, or anything that's like triggering them, anything in that way. And what we ended up going into in this particular session was accessing a part of her, of this person that I worked with, and getting back essentially part of her that had this zest for life, that was just too scared to live life because something showed her early on in childhood that's how it had to be, that it wasn't safe to be who she was or to want what she wanted. And throughout her entire experience, it's almost felt like part of her brain has been missing this entire time, that she just hasn't had conscious access to this part of her that really wants to do great things, and this part of her that is passionate. So we took a look at that, and what we found was astounding. Just by virtue of going in and being willing to look at this part of you that's feeling that way, you really can learn a great deal of information, but not only learn and become more aware and more conscious, which in and of itself is like so good, right? Because the more aware and more conscious we get about something, that means we have more power. Hi, Emily. Keep saying hi, guys, if you're popping on. I've got a lot of you here, so let me know who's here. But yeah, so basically, like when you become more aware and more conscious of something, that means that you've got more power. Like you're more empowered because you're aware. You know that you can actually do something with that information. So what we did was basically we learned that this part of her felt like she had to continue wearing this like suit of armor, this really heavy suit of armor is how we found her in. And I asked the question, I'm like, well, does it feel good for you to continue wearing that armor? Hi, Michelle. And the answer, which was pretty obvious and quick, was no. Like, it's so heavy, it feels like a burden to wear this armor out in the world. Like, I'm tired of it. So what we got to a point in doing was really trying to see what it could be like to not wear it. So at first it felt, a little too scary just to just drop it completely and be like, okay, that's it. I'm done. So, we had to work our way to that point. But what I know was the turning point was when I had her ask this part of her the question, which was, who would you be without that armor? And I really wanted to offer this to you guys who are watching here. If you feel that there are parts of you, which I feel like probably all of us, I know myself included, are these parts of us that feel like we need to wear this armor throughout our lives. I really want you in this moment, while you're here with me, to really tap into the part of you that feels like it has to wear this suit of armor. Whether this armor is here to protect you from something, whether it's here to keep you hidden, to keep you safe, whatever it is, I want you to feel what it feels like to be wearing that armor. Does it feel heavy? Does it feel suffocating? What does it feel like for you specifically? And then what I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself this question. Who would I be without this armor? What would my life look like without this armor? And I want you to really deeply and truly feel that and be brutally honest with what comes up. Because like we mentioned, that's going to increase your level of awareness, your consciousness. You're going to understand more about yourself in that moment. And to know you don't have to expect yourself to do anything or to take any action by coming into that awareness. So what you can do is you can just learn more about yourself. And then from that perspective, that new empowered state of having more knowledge about what's really going on internally with you, then you can choose to decide if it feels good to do something with it, or maybe just by coming into that knowledge, things will already begin to shift for you. Maybe you'll feel inspired to try something different. But to kind of go along with, actually, let me check these comments real quick. Oh, I love you too, Antoine. Thank you. Hey, Donald. Thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that. Lucy says, love you too, done with the armor. Yes, totally. If you feel done, then I'm here to support you in that for sure. But if you still need to wear the armor, and this goes for anybody that's watching this, you might just come into awareness of the armor being there, but maybe you'll come into the realization that it's still positively serving you and there's nothing wrong with that. So the point of coming into that new level of awareness is you get to choose whether that is actually still benefiting you or whether it's become a detriment. And what we get to realize too is that nothing's wrong with us for have had that armor this entire time. Hi Lisa. Oh, thank you. That means a lot to hear. Hey Alex, love you too. So what we can come into the realization of also is that this armor that we've been carrying and wearing has positively served us. We wouldn't have put it on for no reason, right? The hack of this life is that we only do anything in our day-to-day life, whether it was back then or now, because we thought it would make us feel better to do that thing, right? So what we get to understand is how that armor has positively served us so far. What good has it done for you? What were the positive or the hidden positive intentions for putting that armor on in the first place? And then from that perspective, that's where you get to really reevaluate and just determine, does it still feel good to wear it? And if you feel done with that, then you can just ask this part of you that's, wearing this armor, well, what would feel good to do to help me to take off this armor? Maybe you're going to be able to do it all at once. Or maybe it's just going to be something that's going to take some time, and that's okay too. Everyone's on a unique journey, a unique path, and the way to know what's right for you specifically is to quite literally tune into yourself and just ask. It's amazing what you can learn when you actually talk to these parts of you, because you can. That's a little known thing in this society, in this world, is that we look like one unified body, one being, we have one name, or one voice that you can hear physically, but you know what, we're a container of parts of us, emotionally, mentally, physically. So what you get to do is really check in with this part of you that feels like it's been wearing this armor. And then you get to determine if it still feels good to you, and if it feels better to, consider or just becoming open to the idea of living life without it. Then you can literally and directly ask that part of you, what steps can I take to help you to take that armor off? And then what you can do is really work with this part of you. And I want you to keep in mind that there's never a need to compromise when you're doing this, by the way. So what you get to do is you get to open this dialogue with this part of yourself. And what you get to do with that is you get to determine what's going to feel good, what's going to be a practical step that we both agree on that's going to help us move in that direction, that's going to help us to take that armor off. Maybe you want to just take off one part of it at a time. Maybe it's going to require you to do a few different things or make some changes in your life. So another question that you can ask this part of you is what do you need me to be doing differently so that I can help you? and to trust in that whatever flash of intuition, or maybe you'll hear that answer, to go with it and to trust in it and to see where that takes you. But like I said, like your best weapon, and I don't even like using the word weapon, I guess, but like your best tool, let's go with that. Your best tool is going to be awareness. So by opening up this dialogue with yourself, you're going to be gaining massive and massive and massive levels of awareness that are going to help point you in the direction of exactly where you need to go to improve the quality of your life. So, oh man, and just to kind of share like the direction that went in with the client, I'll check some of these comments before I get into that. Omri says, I'm aware of the, oops, I changed my screen. Here we go. I'm aware of the armor for quite a while. I feel like it's still benefiting me, but I did drop like a small piece of that armor. I opened up inside spiritual groups as who I am, but the rest of the world, I'm still with my shield up. And that's okay, Omri. Like for me specifically, and me knowing you, I don't need you to be any different than that in order to have connection with me. So you get to have that and still be in connection with me. And to know that like if at any point in time you reevaluate that and you make changes, whether you want to put more armor on or take armor off, that you get to do that if it feels right for you, and you still get to have connection with people in a way that feels good for you specifically. Donald says, I really like this conversation. This is exactly what has been on my mind lately. I have been very, very restricting on myself my whole life, but I am starting to realize that being a pessimist is worse for me than I thought it was. Yeah, I mean, sometimes like when we come into realizations or new levels of consciousness, they don't always feel good right away. But the thing is we now have more awareness as to what's been going on. So with that, we're basically essentially learning like what we don't prefer and what's not working. So that way we can actually form a new preference for what it is that we do want instead that's going to feel better. So something that I work with people on manifestation as well, and using the law of attraction, manifesting abundance, things like that. And something that we covered in the course that I'm currently teaching is that the vibration of your issue is going to be different than the vibration of the answer or the solution. So it's to really tune into like where you are, accepting what reality is for you, and then from that place of awareness, really honing in on what's going to feel better, and taking any inspired action steps that come up for you. Star Price says, I love you all. I love you too. Hi, Jeffrey. So yeah, to kind of let you guys know, like what ended up happening here is we were able to get this part of my client to successfully take off that armor and just feel that like lightness, like that relief, like, oh my God, like thank God I don't have to wear that anymore, you know? And what ended up happening was at that point, and the process that I'm trained in and certified in is called the completion process by Teal Swan, but I also do incorporate like a wider toolkit, like parts work, shadow work, anything else that goes along with it, right? And part of the process that I use has a step where you call back any other parts of you that were literally just like too scared to be there, or might have fractured off in the moment of trauma, or like it was just too painful to be present with, so you dissociated from. And that's the benefit of working with the facilitators, that we can be holding the space for that and guide you through that process, because that sounds probably really intense or really overwhelming, whether you're familiar with this type of work or not. But anyways, to continue the story, what ended up happening was we called back a fractured aspect of this child, of this like person, and that was in pain, and the part that came back to her to basically like have access to again was what she was wearing this armor to protect herself from, which was protecting herself from this part of her that had this extreme passion and zest for life and wanting to live and do all these amazing things. But she had to basically shun that part of her in order to stay safe, because it wasn't accepted or, you know, basically treated very well by the people around her. She wasn't allowed to do that. It wasn't safe to be that way, or to be excited, or to, you know, like want to do things. So we essentially got to reunite her with this part of her that really, 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 really wants to do things in this life. And it was just like this beautiful coming together, and merging and integration of these parts of her, where she now gets to like walk through life now with that part of her back. It's no longer something that's been like shunned or banished or suppressed or swept under the rug, you know what I mean? So like this type of work opens up your reality. This entire work like gets rid of anything that's in the way of like what you're trying to do, and in which case, like for most of us, is to live a life that feels good, right? Like who doesn't want that, you know? So, oh man, this stuff is just so good. And I'm really intending now to want to share more about how this works, like what happens, what you can do with it, like what's possible. Because, you know, like if you would have told, you know, a Matthew from 2 years ago that this was something you can do, I would have been like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? So I feel like it's so important for us to share this kind of stuff, these types of results, like what's possible, because who knows like what that's going to inspire, who knows who that's going to empower, you know? So that's what I'm here to do, and oh my god, am I so thankful to have you guys here with me. Omri says, thanks, yeah, I need to armor up even more. That's totally understandable, because you know what's going to feel right for you, and I trust in you to know what's going to feel good. That you strengthened an idea that I had recently. Awesome. Lisa, I'm so happy for your client. Thank you. I am too. And the beautiful part was too, this client that I worked with was somebody I'd never worked with before. So that was really awesome too, to get something that successful, that beautiful of a result so quickly. And it's like, you know, we all have so many things that we're dealing with, and it can feel really overwhelming. It's like, well, where do I even begin? But the best part is if you just trust in your body, and even if you don't, like, we can definitely hold space for that too, but like your body is always going to take you where you need to go to get the deepest amount of healing, right? It's like, I always use this example, you might have heard me say this before, but it's like when you cut your arm, you don't have to think about how to heal that. Like your body's going to know exactly what needs to happen to heal that wound the quickest for you, right? But you don't have to know how to do it. So it's really no different like when you're trying to work with the emotions and you're using the emotions to access these parts of you. It's like the whole reason our physical bodies are producing painful feeling states, negative emotions, triggers, whatever it is. The only reason your human vessel is having that, you know, sensational experience is because it's trying to alert you of something, you know? It's like, oh, I always use this too. I can't remember where this came from, but pain, if you just break it down into letters, P-A-I-N, what that's really saying is pay attention, integrate now. So the whole reason your body is producing this reaction, essentially, that we deem or judge as, you know, negative or not feeling good, so that we know the difference, is really only signaling you to a part of you that's unhealed, that's calling out for your attention, that really wants you to become aware. So when you flow in the direction of that, instead of push it away or run away from it or cope with it or whatever, then you actually get led by your body to where you need to go to find that healing, and we always do every single time. So it's so good. It's so good. Like, oh my god, I just love that I get to do this and share this with you guys. So thank you for watching and listening. Jeffrey says, glowing. Oh yeah. Grace says, you have such a great heart. Thank you for the work you are doing here on the planet. Thank you, Grace. Like, that means a lot to hear. I'm really glad you said that. Thank you. It feels good to be able to, you know, participate in helping people. And, you know, like, just by, honestly, like, something as small, like, putting all this aside for a second, like, even if you're just walking down the street and you just smile at somebody that potentially could be having a hard time, like, the ripple effect that has on that person's life, which then ripples out to everyone else around them and on the planet. Like, imagine what this level of work is doing. This is how you ascend the planet. Like, this is what my business name is all about, Planet Ascension, right? So, oh, just so good. So good. And yeah, my intention is to let everybody know what's possible and what you can do with this. And yeah, if you really like what I'm sharing and it's really like resonating with you, know that I've got spots available if you want to give this a try or just to see what it's about. Know that I'm here for you. If you have any questions, I want you to drop them if you feel inspired to in the comments here, and I'll get back to them as soon as I can if you leave them after I finish the live video, because I want everybody to be aware of this work, and just the more aware that we get, the more we have control. And not even necessarily control, because I don't want people to think of like we've got to control everything, but you know, the more aware and conscious we become, there's more we can do with that. We can actually do something with it. So it's getting us out of those places of feeling lost and feeling stuck and moving forward. Nothing's blocking our path anymore, so to speak, you know? Let's see. Lucy says, what do you do when people hurt you afterwards? So like, I think what you're saying is like, let's say that you have an integration and something else happens. Honestly, if something like that's happening, then there's just something else to look at. So the thing is with this type of work, it's like, we can't expect to go into one process and then be healed of all of our pain and trauma for the rest of our life. So if that's happening, Lucy, for anyone in specifically, then what that means is there's something else to look at here. There's more to go inward and check in on and see if there's anything else that we can work with here. Because a lot of times with each time we're going in and doing this type of inner journey, we're just peeling back continual layers of the onion, all the different pain and levels of it that we faced and got compounded during our childhoods and throughout our lives. So we're just going back, and whatever we're capable of working with within one session, we peel that back. With every layer that you peel back, you experience this dramatic shift in your reality for the better. And to know that, like, you know, we kind of have to release resistance to not being done, just continuing along this journey, knowing that every time we get the opportunity to do this, that our reality is going to be dramatically improved in some way. We're changing our point of attraction, right? So that we're just going to continue to go along and then know that, like, when something comes up, we're going to trust ourselves with knowing what to do with that. Or even if we don't do anything with it and just be with it, and gain more awareness because of that. So that's what it's all about. I hope that answers your question, Lucy. But yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them below. Know that there's a link at the top here of this live video and my caption to my website if you want to check any of that good stuff out. And also know that I've started a private Facebook group that if you feel inspired to join, search for Planet Ascension Community. It's a Facebook group that I intend to start using a lot more. And if that feels like something you're resonating with, if you want to be surrounded in this energy, I would love to have you there. Timothy says, when are you doing another class, Matthew? So right now I'm teaching my Waves of Wealth course, which is all about manifestation and abundance. And I'm actually going to be relaunching it again very, very soon. Probably I'm going to have the information out about that in the next few days. Waves of Wealth is my 8-week online course where you don't have to be physically where I live. We do it all on the internet, and we learn and undo, like, basically all of the crappy limiting beliefs and programming we have, and how to manifest exactly what it is that you want, and then what to do along the way when you experience road bumps, obstacles, when things get in the way. And it's been really, really awesome to see, like, what that's been doing for my students so far. So that's going to be put back out, and the doors are going to be opening again pretty soon. We're probably going to start in mid to late March, but all the information about how to enroll in that will be coming out soon. And who knows what I'll be doing. I feel like between now and then there'll be a lot of different spontaneous things that I want to do. As far as classes, webinars, trainings, services. So if it feels good, Timothy, if you go to my website at the top of this live video, there's a newsletter that you can sign up for with your email, and then that way you can stay completely up to date on what I'm up to and what I'm offering. So I'd love to have you be a part of that if that feels good for you. Yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching and joining in this live video. And know that even though if this video is no longer live and you're watching the replay, you can continue to participate in this conversation, to leave any comments, and I'll be sure to check them. And I wish you all, no matter where you are, either a beautiful morning, a beautiful night, beautiful day. And I look forward to talking to you guys again soon. Timothy says, I'm trying to manifest Hawaii as a new home. Heck yeah. Oh, I so support you in that. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help out in that. I still want to see that for you. All right, you guys, I'll talk to you soon.